Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Marcus, and I'm here with my lovely wife,
Shira.
and we want to thank you for joining us on another episode of the Black Married and Debt Free podcast. We're going to be talking about real estate and the real estate market and how it's looking currently and what that means for would-be investors, people who are looking to, you don't have to be an investor, someone who's just looking to get into the housing market. Now, we did a podcast on 2019, Shira, and we talked about how some real estate professionals have projected a recession in 2020. Well, we're here in 2020. So let's go into exactly how it's looking and what, real estate professionals are saying now.
Yeah, it was a good podcast. And I think it was from Zillow. I think
Yes.
it was a Zillow study.
Yes.
I don't know how scientific they are.
Right. It was one of our highest viewed podcasts.
It was.
Slight flex there.
Right. But it was an article, written in speculation. They did not foresee, what is happening today. And here we are in April. It's about to be May.
Just ended the first quarter of 2020.
Yeah, so we're 5 months into this year.
Yeah. Now, Shire, would you say, and I don't know if it's official, but are we in an official recession? And we know the market has dropped. Are we in an official recession right now?
I don't know. I don't know that we are in an official recession, but from what I'm reading, it says that a lot of economists are saying that that's where we are, or that's where we are headed. But I guess that time will tell.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just really understanding, is this something that's temporary?
Right.
Or is this going to be long term? What are the long term, ramifications? Will the economy be able to just bounce right back? Or is it going to be, a longer period before things stabilize?
Yeah. One thing that we do know is that the Fed has dropped the interest rates to historic lows. So with the interest rates being lower, Shire, which is actually something I remember them projecting in the Zillow article last year. What do you think that means? Like, I know that when interest rates go down, there's potential for prices to increase, or it's potential for more buyers, I guess, to finance at that point, and lower rates. That's a good thing. But how do you think that's going to affect the market?
Yeah, so the lower interest rates from the feds is just to incentivize people to want to buy, because the lower your interest rate, the less you'll end up paying for the house over time. And in many cases, you're saving thousands and thousands of dollars. So it is certainly something that the government uses to get, to stimulate the economy.
Right.
So I don't know what the buyers are looking like, but the buyers that are out there, it's a limited market.
Yeah. Now, Shire, me just using my own logic, right? So I would think that we would kind of be moving towards more of a buyer's market, wouldn't we? Because if you have more, less homes going for sale, less homes going on the market, and people wanting to sell their homes, wouldn't they be more willing to negotiate? Like, what do you think? Maybe I'm kind of talking myself in a circle, but
no, I think it's the opposite. It's like supply and demand, right?
Gotcha.
When there's less
there's
supply,
a shortage of supplies,
then you can increase your prices. So I don't know. We just really don't know. And then especially with the government saying, oh, don't pay your mortgage and you can take a couple months off. How is that going to impact the housing market 6 months from now when the rent is due or the mortgage is due and it's time to pay? Are people going to have the money to meet their financial obligations, or will we see foreclosures that a similar situation that what we saw in 2009 and during that time frame. So right now, it's like we're on borrowed time. Well, some people are on borrowed time. housing prices, at least in our local area, haven't dropped too much. But for people who are experiencing hardship and they're not able to make their mortgage, will they be able to keep their homes, or will it turn into foreclosure central like it was? Or will the government have some type of plan to help families stay in their homes? We'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22, because if you're unfortunately on one end of it, you're just trying to keep the home you have, and then if you're on the other end of it, you're kind of like, you're not hoping for the misfortune of others, but you want to be in a position to potentially, capitalize if something, the market prices drop and you're able to jump in. So you want to position yourself. Now, Shire, you mentioned, I'm sorry, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a fine line, right? Because I feel that if you want to invest and you see real estate as your the way that you're going to prosper, the way that you're going to build wealth, the world don't need to come crashing down in order for you to do that. You can still do that responsibly and creatively in any season. But I guess, like, to your point, just be ready.
Just be ready,
because we don't know.
Yeah, and Shire, you spoke off the air about this, how the lack of jobs and joblessness will inevitably affect people's ability to pay mortgage, which would then could see a spike in foreclosures or whatnot. So it's kind of gearing up to, it's looking similar that as it did in 2009, which is how we got our home. Was unfortunately someone else's misfortune. We got a foreclosure, and that kind of springboard our the life as we know it. So.
Right. I don't know if prices will come down to that level, because like, we were able to purchase our condo for around $87,000, and it more than doubled in value. So I don't know if it's going to get to that point, but it goes back to being ready for an opportunity. And if you have been saving, or if you've been wanting to invest or purchase your first home, you may have an opportunity to do so.
Yeah. And so I think that goes back to the importance of preparation, because at the beginning of this year, me and you had a conversation, and we said we want to get our third investment property. Now, me, I don't know if we've told the podcast this story, but I wanted to do it this year. I wanted to do it in 2020. And I was like, Shai, I'm going to hustle. I'm going to get the money, and we going to do this, and I'm going to just do it, And Shai was like, okay, well, let's kind of devise a plan. And you came up with a good plan that kind of pushed the purchasing date back to early 2021, but gave us all of 2020 to prepare. So we've been in preparation mode before this happened. So how important is it for you to be prepared for something like this? Or if you want to buy real estate in the future, to start preparing now, just in case. You never know what happens, right?
Right. I mean, you hit that right on the head, because you have to prepare, right? Yeah. And in order to prepare, well, part of preparation is having a plan. That is key. It's not just, I'm just going to get a property. Okay, you get a property, then what? And let me tell you, one property is not enough to change your life. No. It's not enough to quit your job, unless it's an apartment complex, or something like that, But for most people, you're going to need more than one. You're going to need more than two. You're going to need a few. So planning is incredibly important. And if you're able to expedite the plan, then that's wonderful. But yeah, it's incredibly important.
And speaking of plan, prepare for things to throw you off of your plan. Like, this has definitely thrown us off. There's other areas in our finance Rubik's Cube that had to shift, but we still want to go forth with that plan. So just keep that in mind too, is that crazy things can happen. I mean, what is crazier than what's happening right now, So that's something to keep in mind. Shire, so let's go back. Let's take it back.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? to 2009 when we were able to purchase our condo for $87,000, like you said earlier. But what did we see happen shortly after that? Was that the bottom?
No, it wasn't the bottom.
bottom.
It wasn't the bottom. Prices continued to drop.
Yeah.
We purchased a house at a time when the government was trying to incentivize home purchases. And at that particular time, if you were a first-time home buyer, you would get a check for $8,000.
You remember that, Shire?
Yes. So
I
we
remember that.
paid, around maybe $3,500 or so to get into the condo to receive an $8,000 check after. So it's like we basically just moved in here for free.
Yeah.
But like you said, hindsight is 2020, and the prices continue to drop.
Yeah.
And looking back, I would always say I think we both were in agreement to where it was like we should have got another house.
Yeah,
we should have got another house. We could have taken that and see if we would have qualified for another house, but we just weren't in that mindset at that particular time. That did not cross our minds at all to do that.
Yeah, I think that looking back on it, like how you said, man, how I wish, because we bought ours for $87,000 and we saw similar condos going for
70s.
I think it got even high 60s.
High 60s.
So it's important to do the research like how me and Shire are doing. Well, we're doing research just so we can bring you guys cool content, but study the market. Study what's going on, because you're gonna if your endeavor is to enter into ownership, if that's just your primary residence or if that's owning rental properties, then these are the things you want to look for. How's the market trending? When is a good time for me to get in it? And be saving your money. Find out how much money you're going to need to get your home, to get the down payment, and check the checkpoints, because you just don't snap your fingers and get a rental property, or get your first home. You have to.
It's a process. It's a process, and then, like I always say, it takes wisdom to really understand what season you're in.
Yeah.
Because yes, hindsight is 2020, but if I would have had the foresight at that particular time, maybe we would have got another rental.
Right.
So we don't know what this market is going to do. But ultimately, we don't want to look back at 2020 and say, I wish I would have done A, B, C. Man, that was a great opportunity. I missed that window of time, because it's just going to be a window. No, the prices haven't gone down dramatically at this point, but it can happen.
Absolutely.
And so how are you positioning yourself for success or to enter the market? And if you have other goals too, if you have goals around investing, how are you positioning yourself to seize the moment?
Yeah, and I think for many of us, we have to try to make the best out of a bad situation. Like I said earlier, there are pieces in me and Shire's life that have definitely been affected by this.
What?
Let's just keep it 1,000. I'm on a furlough day right now from work, right? So Shire's working from home. I've been furloughed today. I have, shameless plug, if you've checked out some of our YouTube videos, we did a video on our streams of income. A few of those streams have been affected, you know? So we're trying, but we still have our goal. We still have this goal that we want to accomplish, and we're going to do our darndest to make sure that happens. So, make the best out of whatever situation you're currently in, and that's the word of encouragement that I think I can give to our listeners.
I want to say or ask you to speak to the importance of, if you're in a relationship, the importance of being in alignment with the goals that you've set. You don't want one person going one way and one person going the other way in terms of goals. Yeah,
I think that's important. And me and Shire, we actually were on a podcast last week that we, had an appearance on, and we spoke about that, about the importance of being in alignment with your partner, knowing what your other partner needs in order to go forth with this goal. Like I said earlier, it was all in my head. I want to do X, Y, and Z, and I got it all in here. Shire was like, well, I need to see it, for me to be aligned with that goal. There's things I need too. So it's important to know what your partner needs in order to be on the same goal, to have the same focus. And I think that's one key thing that's important.
I know. I want you to get a little deeper.
Okay, let's go dig. Let's dig on it.
Yeah. Because at the time, because I am a planner to a certain extent, but I think you felt that I was not supportive.
Yeah.
Of the goal to get another property.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's ridiculous because I'm in total and complete support of that.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but at the time I thought, well, maybe this is not something that you really want to do, and I thought maybe you just didn't know how to tell me. So
Marcus,
you was
you
like,
know that I know how to tell.
You do. That is true. So that was a bad thought on my part. But I saw it as, well, maybe she just don't want me to do this. Like, she just want me to just kind of focus on something else, maybe. Like, but really, it was just like, no, I want to support the vision, but I just need to see the vision written out. You need to get it out of your head and get it on a piece of paper.
Right, but in saying that, I didn't say, Marcus, you need to write this down because I need to see it. That's not what happened.
Exactly. Shira went on her own, and said, okay, this is what Marcus said he want to do on her own time, y'all. So this is key that I want you to think about when you're dealing with your spouse. On her own time, she took what our conversations had been and came out with a 10-year plan for that conversation, for that thing that I wanted to do. She came up with a plan, had it written out, and then she showed me, and I was like, see, that's what I was saying.
Right. And I honestly believe that is what you were saying.
Yeah.
And that is what you kind of had mapped out in your mind, something along the lines of that.
Thank you, Shira. Give me a little bit. That was
okay.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. And so you got what you need. Mm-hmm. I have what I need.
And now we can go forward.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's like the communication that sometimes is a huge struggle in relationships, and just having the ability to articulate what it is in your mind in a way that draws your spouse, closer to you or closer to understanding where it is you're coming from. And I think it requires effort on both parts, like you communicating, not shutting down, and expressing what it is in your mind, and then me saying, okay, let me figure this man out. I think he's saying A, B, C, and then me showing you, I think this is what you're saying. Is this what it is?
Yeah, Shira, even to go even deeper, I think sometimes, maybe even in this instance I was doing this, sometimes we need that like antagonist. And I think I was like projecting that on you.
Okay.
Sometimes you need that, like, man, they don't think I could do this. I'm gonna show them. And maybe unconsciously or subconsciously, I was like, Shira really she's not as enthused about this as I am. I'm gonna show her that I can do this. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was part of it too. But you're right. Everything you said was right. That was the wrong mindset to have. But I'm thinking that might have been a part of the psychology of it.
Yeah, and I don't think you had the wrong mindset. You had the right mindset, right? You have.
But we're a team.
Yeah, we're a team. We're a team, but the root of that is, I want to be successful. Yeah. I want to set up my family. Like, I like the heart of it was in the, your heart was in the right place. Yeah. And another piece of it, I think, could kind of be like somewhat cultural, or how you were raised, raised to say, be the underdog, I'm going to prove someone wrong. Or there's one preacher in our local area that would always say, amen, all by myself, like, I'm going to do this by myself. I'm going to show you I don't need nobody else. And the reality of it is whether you're in a relationship or not, but anyone that is trying to do something great, you're not doing it by yourself. You're not doing it by yourself. Yep. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but wisdom will tell you to surround yourself with positive people, to connect with folks that are doing things or have the desire to.
Yeah.
So it's, goes back to like your mindset, right? And also having a shared vision with your spouse. So here we are in 2020, we're about 5 months in. I don't know what your situation is looking like, right? You could be like, this could really be your year, or you could be having a tough time. For some folks, this could be the year to where they've learned a lot of lessons, and this is the never again year. Like, you're not going to catch me without an emergency fund. You're not going to catch me, being so heavily reliant on a job. I'm going to have a side hustle. I'm going to have a backup plan. But I think that regardless of what your situation is, here we are gearing up for month 5. But I believe that we can all come out of this a little bit better.
Yes, I totally agree, Shire. And I think that is the best way to close out this podcast. That was good. So we want to thank you guys for being on another episode of Black Married Debt Free podcast. Now, Shire, I got to do this.
Okay.
I got to do this because it's been a few weeks and I haven't done it. I have to let our listeners know about our masterclass that is available right now in the description below, mind you. It's a masterclass, Get Out of Debt and Start Building Wealth, where we have an hour and a half of on-demand video outlining the strategies that we use to go from a 6-figure debt to 6-figure net worth, and fingers crossed ascending, hopefully. That it will be. So we want to share our strategies with you guys, and we also want to show the key to building wealth, not just getting out of debt. That's level 1, but we want to get you guys to level 2. And so we did a masterclass, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So check that out if you have not yet. And like I said, we hope you guys are doing good. You guys stay safe.
Yes.
And we're praying for everybody, and we're going to get through this together. All right. So for Marcus Murray, this is my lovely wife,
Shira. My voice cracked.
Oh, okay. So this is Marcus and my lovely wife,
Shira.
and we're going to holler at you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Bye.